everybody. Welcome. And you may have noticed that it's just me tonight, little old me. It's a Little Mermaid party here, but I'm not going to do this alone. We have some special guests, but before we get into that, I want to know, first of all, let's see, any comments? Have you guys seen Little Mermaid? Let me know in the comments. And also, we're going to ask your thoughts later about the film. But before we do that, I am going to begin the show and we'll bring on our special guests this evening. Okay, I'm going to hit record right over here. Record. Oh, my little tauntaun's in the way. You can't see. Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome. Julie's here. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see it again. She says amazing. Okay, here we go. This is what you can look forward to on episode 421 of Skywalking Through Neverland. Hey, Skywalkers! What's the scuttlebutt? It's time to go under the sea, explore uncharted waters, and become part of that world on this episode. But first, we want to welcome you to Skywalking Through Neverland. We are your enthusiastic podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars, Disney, and Marvel fandom. So it's time. It's time for a big Wookiee hug and a little sprinkle of pixie dust for our family of Skywalkers. Now, we are recording this, or I am recording this on Long Beach, California on May the 30th, 2023. Now, I am Sarah Woloski. Richard Woloski, my co-host and husband, usually introduces me, but it is the start of summer. That's when our busy schedule kicks into high gear. He is currently hard at work on new Today in Star Wars History Minute videos for our YouTube and other channels so that we can get ahead of ourselves. So instead, I have enlisted the help of our sister podcast on the Skywalking Network, the Neverland Clubhouse. And on this episode, we are going to break down Disney's newest live-action remake, The Little Mermaid. So first, I want to welcome Courtney Turckel. Hey, Courtney.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited about this Neverland Clubhouse takeover.
I am too.
Yeah. So first of all, we're going to introduce each of you in person in turn. So Courtney, what is your favorite line from a Little Mermaid song?
Well, I am partial to Poor Unfortunate Souls. And I love the line that says, now it's happened once or twice. Someone couldn't pay the price. And I'm afraid I had to rake them across the coals.
Whoa. It's a dark side, Courtney, today. Okay. I like it. All right. Well, next I want to introduce Kelly Turckel. Hey, Kelly.
Hi. I'm so excited.
Talking Little Mermaid tonight. We all dressed for the part. I got my little mermaid.
I got the picture of the front of the Wish.
Disney Wish.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, what is your favorite line of dialogue or favorite line from a Little Mermaid song?
So this kind of resonated with me when I watched the movie on Saturday, and it says, "Betcha on land they understand that they don't reprimand their daughters, bright young women sick of swimming, ready to stand." I love that line. Just because you always think it's greener on the other side. The grass is always greener on the other side, but it's not always. I mean, we get reprimanded too.
Okay, this is so funny because I was going to share my favorite line. Kelly, you stole it.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
Of all the lines, of all the dialogue. So, I love, we don't reprimand your daughters. So I was 8 when I first saw this movie, and I did not understand what reprimand meant. So this song taught me what that word meant because I went and I looked it up in our dictionary, and I was like, wow. They don't reprimand their daughters. Oh, that's so funny. And I don't think I got as a kid, how ironic that line is.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking on Saturday. Like, I really didn't understand that line until really listening to it now in our 30s and up.
Yeah.
Like, you really just don't understand. And like, you always think the grass is always greener on the other side, but it's not always. And everybody's got problems. Everybody's got something that they want and something that they don't like about themselves,
Yeah. Actually, you guys in the Sky Chat, let us know what your favorite line from a Little Mermaid song is. That's a little harder than like, what's your favorite song? So we want to
Yeah.
know. Let us know.
It was
and
hard.
we want to welcome Joey. Joey's here. Yay. And Julie, we had already welcomed Julie. Also, Wesley's here. Saw it on Sunday night. Awesome. Yeah, a lot of people saw it over the weekend. Awesome.
That's funny, right. Sarah. We didn't even talk about our favorite lines.
Oh, no, we didn't. Yeah, that's hilarious. All right. Well, Kelly, who's sponsoring this episode?
Oh, we are sponsored by Small World Vacations. And if I can find it.
Do you want me to say it? I can say it.
No, I can say found it. Found it.
Go ahead.
We are being sponsored by Small World Vacations. They are a diamond-level Disney vacation planner travel agency. It can help you book your trip to Disney parks around the world. Best of all, their service is free of charge. So head to smallworldvacations.com for a no-obligation price quote and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Perfect. Okay, Julie has answered the question. Let's see, Courtney, you want to read her reply here?
Julie says, I was 13 when the animated movie came out, and that line resonated with me too, because I was a teen with that parent drama.
Bright young women, sick of swimming. They understand.
I loved when I think when I was little, I liked when she like swelled the end of that line. And it would like swelled up, like ready to stand.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. And then later realizing what that line actually meant was kind of what stood out to me.
Nice. I love it. All right. So yes, we are going to talk Little Mermaid all up in here, all in this episode. So first of all, let's give a baseline here. So Disney's live action Little Mermaid just came out this weekend. It made a splash in theaters, opening on May 24th, 2023. Mm-hmm. Was it 2024 or 26? Hold on.
It was 26.
Oh, 26. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, 26.
Let me do that again. All right. So Disney's live action Little Mermaid made a splash in theaters this weekend, opening on May 26th, 2023. And over the Memorial Day weekend, it grossed $117 million at the domestic box office. And it is now the 5th highest grossing Memorial Day weekend opener. Just to give you guys an idea, Top Gun Maverick is the highest grossing at $160 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not too far off.
No, it's not. And 5th highest, I mean, that's pretty good, especially after the pandemic. Pandemic numbers, right? Yeah. All right. So first of all, before we dive into the new Little Mermaid, let's kind of share our experience with the original 1989 animated Little Mermaid film so we can gauge our nostalgia. So when did you both first see it? Courtney, we'll start with you.
Well, I had to have been about 3 or 4 years old because, it came out in 89 and I think I was 3 then. And I just remember, I don't remember seeing it in theaters, but I remember watching it over and over and over on VHS when we got it. And I remember recording myself on home videos, screaming, like singing at the top of my lungs, Part of Your World and the Part of Your World reprise. So yeah, I have very much an affinity for this movie growing up, and I had to have been about 3 or 4 when I first saw it.
Wow. So it's probably one of those that just played over and over again at your house.
Exactly. I think we wore out one videotape and had to buy another one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What about you, Kelly?
Well, it came out in 89 and I was born in 89. So I do have a connection with it there. But like Courtney said, we had the videotape, so I don't think I ever saw it in theaters. Couldn't have. Wasn't alive. Or I was very, very young. And yeah, our dad called this our babysitter. He would put this on and we would just watch it all the way through, be mesmerized by it. And he used it so that he could have whatever time he wanted.
I think when he went to go mow the lawn in the backyard,
Yeah.
he would put it on.
That's funny.
I just
Wow.
remember I remember me and Courtney both like spinning in a circle in our living room, singing at the top of our lungs, Part of Your World, in front of the TV. I think we have home movies of us doing it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't remember if we watched it all the way through all the time, but I definitely remember watching that part and Under the Sea. And we, of course, had sing-along tapes with the songs. So
yes.
very attached to it.
Cool. Yeah, and similar to me, I grew up, I was 8 when this movie came out. So perfect age.
Yes.
I saw it in the theater that summer. I freaked out. I loved it so much. I was the perfect age for all those Disney Renaissance movies. And that same summer, my parents put in a pool in our backyard. So immediately, a child's imagination, that pool, the deep end of our pool became the undersea kingdom of Little Mermaid with King Triton's castle, everything. And I would pretend I would like swim with my legs together, you know, like my ankles together. And I'd even put one of those like diving rings around my ankles so I couldn't move them apart. So I would like swim that way. And
you really wanted to be a mermaid.
I did want to be a mermaid. And now I see in the stores, like in Walmart and stuff, like all these mermaid swimming stuff, like even like mermaid fin things. And I'm like, if I could only have had that when I was 8, that would have been amazing.
Right.
So yes, needless to say, it's very nostalgic for me as well. All right. So looking now at The Little Mermaid, this movie has been in development for, I think, 5 years. We've known about it. So what were your expectations going into this movie? And then your overall takeaway when you finally saw it? Kelly, start with you.
So when I heard they were going to do the Little Mermaid remake, you know, we've had a lot of live action remakes. And I was skeptical, you know, it's something that I didn't really want it to be touched. I didn't know if I wanted a live action version. When they announced the cast, it wasn't that I was disappointed, but like Hallie wasn't on my radar at all. The only thing I knew her from was Grownish. And I guess it was the show, but I didn't really know a lot about her voice and her acting. I didn't like it in Grownish, so I was a little skeptical about it. But I had hopes, and when we, you know, saw bits and pieces of it, we kept getting little pieces of it. I was like, oh, okay, this could be really good. It looks really good. It's sounding really good. And really got like, okay, I'm open to it. I'm going to go see it, you know. And my takeaway is I loved it. I really loved it. And we'll talk about it, but I really loved it.
Yeah, we're going to get into detail about that. Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, so Courtney, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard about The Little Mermaid live action, I was like, nope, don't need another remake. I don't need it.
Was it right after you saw Lion King live action?
Pretty much. And I didn't want that one either.
Yeah, that was a dig.
I have strong feelings about Lion King. But I was not a fan of Hallie either. I had heard her sing on Disney Channel. They do these like Disney Channel Circle of Stars things, and they did one for Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And her and her sister were on that one and were singing. It was their turn, and they kind of did their own take on it. and they went too high on it, I think, and it didn't do anything for me. Their voices were the wrong pitch. I didn't like their way of singing. So when I heard she was going to be Ariel, I was like, oh no, 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 please no. But after we went to D23 Expo and we saw the full part of the full
Part of your world.
scene of part of your world, it really turned me around and said, she's gotten some singing lessons. She's not as high pitched anymore. I do still have a little bit of an issue with how she does part of your world at the end there, but most of the song is very well done, and her voice has grown into the cadence that should be for that song. I believe. And I felt like she did a very good job of portraying the essence of Ariel in her performance. So I was very pleased with it, and I was pleased with how the movie turned out after having like, no, please, no.
Yeah.
So I do think it's up there on the better scale of the remakes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my expectations going in, I did not know who Halle Bailey was when she was announced. I've never seen Grownish. I've seen Blackish, but not Grownish. So I didn't know who she was. But I was keeping an open mind. I thought Aladdin was a great remake. The rest have been okay to not good, or like, why did we do this?
Right.
But otherwise, so yes, like you guys, D23 got me hyped when we saw the part of your world sequence. Like, I thought her voice was absolutely beautiful, but I was like kind of taken out of it by the hair, which I think they must have fixed by the film, because I remember the hair being weird. Because I mean, how hard is that to animate hair in the water? Like, you can't film these actors underwater singing. Like, that's just, you can't do it. So it's all CGI, and I thought it was weird. And then
I remember having that conversation after D23 with you and with some other people that were around, and just being like, okay, it was amazing, but the hair.
It was distracting. Yeah.
It was distracting.
And then one of the Little Mermaid previews that we saw showed Sebastian and Flounder and Scuttle, the live action versions, and I was just like totally put off by them. I was like, oh,
they're the real life.
Gonna work.
They're the real life
creatures with
real life creatures instead of cute. They're not cute and cuddly, you know.
Exactly.
Like, Sebastian and Flounder are fish and a crab, but I still feel like I could like cuddle them and hug them and all of that, but not so much with the ones in the movie.
Well, so in the previews they were off-putting, but when I saw them in the film, everything just kind of flowed and worked. So
I wasn't bothered by them.
Yeah, so I think once you're in the proscenium of the world of under the sea, it just, all of that flies away and you're just in the story. And so I think this film did a great job doing that. This is one of the very few films that I've seen a preview for and then been like, all right, I want to see this opening weekend with my girls, which we all went and saw it. And I actually bought a ticket for it. So if that's not saying something, I put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah.
I really liked this film, and I think it's on par with Aladdin in terms of the remakes. Okay, so we've already talked a little bit about Halle Bailey. Oh, but wait, there's some comments here. So Wesley says, let's see. Oh, so Wesley thought her hairstyle works better than free-flowing hair. Okay, because she has...
It wasn't the locks that threw me off, because her real locks are great. They're fine. The locks that were the locks in Underwater aren't hers at all. When she filmed the scenes underwater, she was wearing a cap, like a cap.
Okay. Like a green, probably cap?
Yeah. So all of the hair that she has underwater is digital. That is why it looks the way it does.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Wesley says, the locks seem to make sense for me. Like, the meme where you see what Ariel would look like actually coming out of the water is not good. Live action looked really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Wesley.
Awesome.
All right. So, what do we think? Let's expound on Halle Bailey first of all. And anyone here watching, please let us know what you thought of Halle Bailey's performance. Did you love it? Was there things you really liked that she did? Nuances? What did you guys think? And also, I mean, the representation I think is fantastic.
Yes.
I'm all
good.
for casting people for what they earned. Like if they come into the audition and kill that audition, I don't care what race, color, gender you are. Maybe you should think about giving that person the role, you know? Like if they come in and take that role and like is good for the role, I'm all about giving the best person the role.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, Rob Marshall has stated in the press conference that I attended that Halle Bailey was the first person they saw for Little Mermaid. She absolutely killed it as part of your world. And Rob and Alan Menken looked at each other and were like, did we just find Ariel? But we've only been doing this for 5 minutes. So they saw like hundreds of other girls, hundreds of other different races, everything, you know. And then they finally had Halle kept coming back. And eventually Rob says that she claimed the role for herself.
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, and I know that she took lessons and voice lessons and really worked hard on the role, so she definitely deserved it.
Yeah. Let's see. Julie shares, I thought she was amazing. She is Ariel. Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. And Halle Bailey herself says that Ariel has truly helped me find myself and this young woman version of me. It's been 5 years of my life now, from 18 to now being 23. So those are like very intense, transformative years. But I especially feel like the themes of the film and what Ariel had to go through with her passions and drive and speaking up for herself. And even though it may be scary, she went for it. I feel like those things I really try to adopt and give to Halle, who I am now. So she's taught me so much for sure. So it sounds like Ariel really had Halle find her voice.
Yeah.
Which I think is
and
really
it shows.
cool.
I think it shows because, like I said, when I first heard her sing when she was younger, I didn't like the way she sang. But as she has evolved and studied Ariel and studied in this role, she's grown to be a beautiful singer. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And not just that, but like I'm one of those people that like will go on YouTube and watch every interview I can find if I really want to go see a movie, like if I'm really interested in it, like all the Marvel interviews, all the Star Wars interviews and stuff like that. I'm one that'll gobble up all those interviews, even if before I see the movie. Usually I've seen the movie, but before I see the movie too. And I went on and I watched so many interviews with Halle and Jonah, who plays Prince Eric, and she is so like, she still has the mannerisms. She's so sweet. She's so nice. I watched her with a few kids interviewing her, and the way they looked up to her and was just like, oh my gosh, how was it to get to be Ariel? And she was like, it's so fun. You know, I just think that she's just a really good role model for the kids right now and any one of us. Like she really commands it. And I really like the interviews that she put out for all of this and all the chemistry and relationship with the characters that she and the cast that she has. So, and you know, she did most of the movie alone because it was just like puppets and just hearing their voices in her head, you know. She said, like, I just was hearing Awkwafina's voice or Daveed Diggs' voice all day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And plus, they did it during COVID, so they couldn't be together at all. So,
yeah. That's crazy. Well, let's read a few of these comments here. See, Patty Nazarian, welcome, Patty. Halle did such a wonderful job. Her voice was beautiful and she nailed the role of Ariel. Her facial expressions were phenomenal. That made me connect to her emotions. Yeah, her eyes are like so expressive.
They are.
So and the camera just just
she was talking about in these interviews that she really had to work on acting with no words because obviously her voice is gone. So she's like, I had to work on expressing my emotions and everything I'm feeling and everything, because she's on land for the very first time and she's taking everything in.
Yeah.
And she wants to be so excited, but she didn't want to be like over the top. And Rob Marshall said in one of his interviews that he wanted to step away from kind of like the charades and like the kind of like pantomiming or being like a mime of things. Like he really wanted it to show on her face. So she really had to work on it. And also he took out the scene of her signing the contract because he didn't want anybody to say like, why isn't she just writing down things down
Oh,
for
I
Eric?
understand.
Because in the animated movie she can write her
Signs it.
name,
Yeah, she
Mhm.
can write her
and
name.
like it has been like I guess a plot hole for the last 30 years of
That
why
I
she
never
I never even
noticed.
thought
yeah,
about it.
I didn't either.
Never even thought about it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, she just she signs the contract. That's all.
Yeah, she signs the contract, and it's been like a plot hole for a lot of for the 30 plus years that she can write in the animated, but she can't write to Eric, and she can't get like a piece of paper and a pen and write, but she can sign her name on a contract. So Rob Marshall wanted to take that out, which is why we got the blood scale
Got
and the
it.
blood. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, hold on, Joey. Joey's weighing in here. All right, Courtney, why don't you read what Joey says?
Oh, it looks like Joey has a new Disney crush. But truthfully, she's a great and right choice.
Nice. Awesome. Wow. And Patty did not even realize.
I know,
didn't
right? Not even a
either,
clue.
you know, because we had talked about, me and Courtney had talked about it. I don't remember if you and Bryn were there, but me and Courtney had talked about the fact that she didn't sign the contract.
Okay.
And we were like, oh yeah, she didn't sign the contract. And then I was watching an interview with Rob Marshall, and he's like, I purposely took out that scene because I didn't want people to be like, why can't she just write about it and write
Well,
to
actually,
Eric?
we're fighting over it because I said, no, she signs her name on a contract. And you go, no, but it's in her blood. And I was like, no,
Oh yeah, we were, yeah.
It's the magic and she signs it in the contract.
Well, I still
Wow.
don't know if that's true or not, but but I do know that Rob Marshall purposely took it out of the live action film because he didn't want that plot hole in his movie.
He plugged the plot hole.
Well,
Yes,
I mean,
he
it
did.
works, but
It
I mean, I
does.
never really realized it. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't either, and it's like it dawns on you, like, oh yeah, she can write, and in the
Yeah.
animated versions, she still remembers that she has to kiss him to break the spell.
Right. That was different.
Which in the live action version, she doesn't have to, or she doesn't get to remember that. She doesn't know
No.
what she has to do. She's just kind of like,
She knows who
exploring for the
Eric
first
is.
time.
she knows who Eric is, and
Yeah.
she knows who he is, but she doesn't know what breaks the spell.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, let's go into so we're already talking a little bit of the differences and similarities between the original and the live action, but I feel like the music is a big part of this.
Yeah.
And we have, I would say, 3.5 new songs. So we have, first of all, Wild Uncharted Waters, which is Eric's I Want song. We have For the First Time, which is Ariel's new song that she sings in her head. It's her thoughts as she is on land for the first time as a human. We have The Scuttlebutt, which is Scuttle and Sebastian sharing the rumor that Eric is going to propose, they assume, to Ariel, and they wake her up on the third day with this song. And then there's Another Part of Your World reprise. Is it reprise or
I've always called it reprise, but I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay, I've always called it reprise, but you guys let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this is the half because it's a Part of Your World reprise with Ariel at her lowest point. So Eric has proposed to Vanessa and she's like lost all hope. This is like her hopeless reprise of Part of Your World. Okay, so let's talk about these songs. First of all, let's go to the Wild Uncharted Waters Eric song. What did you guys think?
This one's my favorite out of all of them.
It was your
I loved
favorite?
it. Yes, I loved it. I loved that Prince Eric got an I Want song. I loved that it was about adventure and trying to find things that are beyond his kingdom. And I think that kind of gives it away of why I loved it so much is the Prince Eric of it all. But
You have a
but
crush.
I loved Wild Uncharted Waters. That one was my favorite. I loved it. I listened to it
Aw.
over and over and over again.
What about you, Courtney? What did you think of this one?
I love the fact that they tried to give him a song. I like the song they gave him in the Broadway version better.
Oh, okay. Well, this is something I do not know about.
Yeah.
So, what is the Broadway version? Like, where does it happen? What is the story with that song?
So he has a song called Her Voice, and it's kind of it definitely kind of comes into the same point in the show in the movie.
Okay.
He's already heard the part of your world reprise. He's looking for the girl who saved him, and he's just mesmerized by her voice, and he sings about how it makes him feel and how he's trying to find her, and it's just such a beautiful ballad song that I
Okay.
think they did it better. But I understand that the new song is more about him and wanting to go on adventures and be away from the castle. I think it was good for this version of the movie, but I feel like the song they gave him in the Broadway show is better.
Okay. Okay. And for me, I really enjoyed this song. I think it mirrors. I'm gonna do a lot of paralleling to Aladdin because I feel like the two
Yeah.
are very on par with each other.
Yeah,
Aladdin
yeah.
gave Jasmine her song,
Mhm.
which I think is beautiful. And I feel like this did the same thing. It gave Eric a song and a path. It's his I want for himself. So we know where his heart is and what he wants. So when he achieves that, or at least looks like he's going to achieve it, we rejoice with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
For
did
me, it
like it.
solidified the scene where he
Yeah.
talks about that. So
Yeah. So I'm
yeah.
trying to think though. I'm trying to think if it's. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I thought it was very good. And then Alan Menken really sealed it, like why they put this song here. So Alan Menken in the press conference says, "We chose the moment when Prince Eric has been told, 'Don't go back out to sea, you can't,' by his mom, the Queen, and he thinks about this girl. It's a love song to her, and it's a love song to the sea and to his uncharted waters, his life ahead of him." An important theme throughout the movie. And both of these characters, both Ariel and Eric, like are told by their parents, no, you must stay in your lane. You must stay on shore. You must stay in the ocean. And they both rebel against that because they are drawn to the other, right? The other
Right.
one. It's a lot like Moana's song, honestly. I
Yeah.
felt that it paralleled
No, yeah,
Moana's song to the
definitely.
sea, like the sea calls to her. So the
Yeah.
sea is calling to him. So yeah. I love it. And producer John DeLuca said Eric needed his voice. So they
He
gave him a
He
song.
did.
Thought that was
I'm
great.
not as familiar with the Broadway as Courtney is. It unfortunately never came to LA, so we didn't get to see it. But Courtney has listened to the soundtrack over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten into it. So I don't know her voice. But I mean that seems like it would fit the storyline of the animated and the Broadway version, which is more about him finding her.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
About the love stories, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But,
Okay.
like where they were trying to get away from that, I feel like it just kind of they wanted it to naturally happen in the live action film, where like this one it was like I'm going up there because I'm in love with him. Like I fell in love with him during the shipwreck, so now I must find him, and vice versa. He must find her. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
not. I don't think the live action film is about that. So
Right.
I understand why they didn't
The
put
live
any of the
action film has a bigger scope.
exactly, and I get that. I just feel like they've done it 3 times with Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Little Mermaid. all three of them have 3 different versions. They have the animated version, they have the Broadway version, and they have the live action version. And all 3 movies have different songs, all written by Alan Menken, and he keeps reinventing the wheel, and I don't understand.
Oh, it's all about, look, there's a new soundtrack we could sell.
Exactly.
Although I will never forgive him for not putting home in Beauty and the Beast.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, Julie wants to talk about Wild Uncharted Waters. She says, I liked the song, but I felt his voice wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. I felt like the vocals were mixed too low with the music.
I felt exactly the same because I felt like the waves crashing, especially when he was on the boat. I felt like the song got lost. And that's kind of why I was like, maybe I need to watch it again or something like that. But I couldn't actually hear the words. And I didn't listen to the soundtrack before going to see the movie. And I felt like the waves crashing were louder than his singing. So I do feel the same way that Julie does.
See, I've listened to the soundtrack before accidentally and then after many times, and I felt like I love the song. That's how I love the song. During the movie, I was just watching him. I wasn't even really paying attention to the song or the waves or whatever. I was watching him.
Okay. We know where your heart lies, Kelly.
Yes.
That's funny. Wesley says, I didn't like any of Eric's songs.
Well, that's fair too.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's fair too. I'm sure he doesn't have I don't think he has the strongest singing voice either. But again, I think that they chose the people for the roles and kind of brung up their singing voices to where they needed to be.
Rob Marshall even mentioned that in the press conference, is that he casts for the acting and he likes it when it's acting first and then they sing. Like Melissa McCarthy as well.
Yes.
They coached her on her singing. And also looking even back at Into the Woods, I thought Emma, what's her name?
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt was fantastic, even though she doesn't have the best singing voice in the world, but she acted all her way all through those songs in there. And I thought it was fantastic. So.
Yes.
All right. But let's go to Ariel's new song, which is For the First Time. And this is the song that Ariel sings in her head, which was a little surprising to see in the theater. I was like, oh, wait, she's singing. Oh, but she's not singing, but she's singing in her head, her thoughts as she's human for the first time. So she's riding the little cart, then she's getting washed up in the castle, and then, she's getting ready to meet Eric, basically. So what did you guys think of this one, For the First Time?
I thought this one was fun. I really thought that it was kind of needed to kind of get a feeling of what she was actually feeling while she's going on shore for the first time and seeing carts and trying out new things and just, you can't speak it. So I think that the way they found a way to put her emotions into a song and give us another song for Ariel, because she only had one song in the animated version, was fun. I think it was fun.
Okay, cool. Courtney.
I thought it was very fun. I loved the Caribbean beat that it had.
Yeah.
I felt it was because I'm going to compare it to the Broadway show a lot.
Sure. No, that's good. That's good.
That's what they do in the Broadway show is they give her a song and she sings it in her head, or like she's singing it, but it's meant to be in her head. And the one that they do in the Broadway show is called Beyond My Wildest Dreams. And that one is, she's so excited. She's here with Eric and she's seeing things for the first time. And she gets so giddy and she's just so happy to be on land. And so she's just interested in everything. And I kind of feel like this song is where they married the two, where they brought the Broadway and the animated into, one scene. And that was
so you approve?
I do approve of this one. Yeah. But I do like Beyond My Wildest Dreams better. But
well, we got the cameo in this one with Jodie Benson.
Yes. So cute. Well, this is actually before we see Jodie Benson.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
she's
a little
like
bit
the
before.
tail end of it, isn't she?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
No, this is even before she meets Eric. It's her she's found on the ship. So I've seen it twice.
That's right.
So yeah,
it's not the
she's found
Caribbean
on the
one?
ship. No, this is the Caribbean song. Like the for the first time,
I thought this was when Eric took her to the village.
No, it's not. So
okay.
this
Never
is
mind then.
when, remember, this one's different. In the live action, she's caught on the sea by that fisherman.
Oh,
And instead of washing up on shore, she's caught in a fisherman's net, and he gives her clothes and gives her a ride to the castle.
Oh,
then-
that's
Oh,
right.
that's right.
And
Yeah,
then the
that's right.
castle
yeah.
ladies are scrubbing her up. She almost eats the soap.
right.
And then, so actually, I'll go
And then
into
she
it.
falls
So
asleep. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, she almost falls asleep, but as she's getting ready, they realize, oh, this is an unknown woman, and Eric's been looking for an unknown woman. So let's call Eric. Let's call her to see her. And then she realizes that Eric's coming just behind the closed doors, and so she gets all excited, and you can hear it in the song. And then there's like a little reprise right after when they meet, and she can't talk, she can't speak. And so then Eric is like, oh, well, this can't be her.
You can't be her.
Right?
Yeah.
This one
Yeah.
I did like. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
mixing the two up, but
Yeah.
like this one is good. But then there's one later on. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I think this one is my favorite just because of what it represents. So, growing up through the years, like Kelly, I love behind the scenes stuff. Well, both of you. I love behind the scenes stuff, and we've heard Alan Menken talk ad nauseum in a good way about how songs in musicals and represent a journey for the character, maybe not from place to place, but in their character arc, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like this particular song, for the first time, really furthers Ariel's journey, or it really brings her. It's like an incredible breadth of the song. It's astonishing. So it first chronicles Ariel's surprise at being in this new place, being human, looking around like, oh my gosh, I'm not under the sea anymore. Then she's, and then gravity's pulling me down because she's never been with the gravity.
Oh yeah, this is the one where she's telling herself to stand. Yeah.
Yes, to stand for the first time, for the first. And I apologize for my singing, but yes.
No,
but the gravity's pulling me down. And so there's several different stanzas of this. And then she's getting cleaned up by the maids, and she's like, oh, what's this for the first time? It's soap for the first time, getting groomed for the first time. And then it reaches this crescendo when Eric's going to walk through the door. It's like, oh my gosh. And it's so exciting. I just listened to the soundtrack all day. This song has been stuck in my head all day. And it's so exciting. And then Eric meets her, and this is like her. Then the next stanza is her crushing disappointment as she realizes her terrible mistake of the price she paid to get to that moment with Eric. It's her voice, right?
Yeah.
Which means he will never know that she's the one who saved him. And so that last stanza is just completely heartbreaking. So her character has gone on this journey of excitement and thrill, and then just crushing, terrible disappointment all in this one song. And it's just a fantastic ride. I would say it's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree with everything you
No,
said.
I agree. It's a great song, and I think Alan Menken and Lin-Manuel Miranda did wonders with the new songs. I thought they fit the movie, and we really needed what you said, that song for the first time. We needed that song because otherwise we're just kind of following her through the village while she's taking everything in, and while Hallie can act on her face like what she's feeling. It was really nice to hear exactly what she was feeling.
Yeah.
And
that's what they do in the Broadway show. They actually give her two songs. They give her a song called If Only, and that's kind of the song like where she realizes, I wish I could talk to you. I gave up my voice and now I can't. So they kind of married the Beyond My Wildest Dreams with If Only and that song kind of thing.
That came out. Yeah. And Julie really likes the way they staged Ariel singing with no voice. I do too, Julie. And there's a moment that I caught on the second viewing that all throughout this scene, she is, they show her on screen and she's not moving her lips. But at one point, everything gets dark and the spotlight goes on her and she actually sings out loud.
Yes.
And I want to say it's the moment where she's crushed with disappointment.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is because
Okay.
everything goes dark and even
Yeah.
Eric disappears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
she's,
it's like
in her
that
head.
realization moment
Yes.
of like, oh, okay, he thinks I'm not her because I can't talk, and he thinks that I will never be able to talk, and I don't have a voice.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
All right. And Wesley says, I liked that they gave her an inner monologue through the song.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the next one, the scuttlebutt.
This
Patty
was fun.
loved the scuttlebutt. Wesley also thought the scuttlebutt was his favorite as well.
Mm.
And it is so much fun. Scuttle and Sebastian, played by David Diggs and Aquafina.
Aquafina. Yeah, Aquafina.
Oh my gosh. And this is, so it's the third day. Ariel, and she's woken up by Scuttle and Sebastian sharing the rumor that Eric is going to propose, and they wake her up and they're like, get out, it's the scuttlebutt. What's the scuttlebutt? And it's so cute.
It's so Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's
Oh, yeah,
not
you
even
can totally
funny.
tell. I was like, oh, and it's totally David Diggs as Lafayette doing Guns and Ships from Hamilton. It's awesome.
There's one point where that rap gets super fast.
Yeah. And only David Diggs could do it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
so
it was
cute.
good. It was good. And I wasn't expecting it. Like I said, I accidentally heard the soundtrack a couple days before we saw the movie because we were waiting for the weekend to see it. And it came up on my Apple Music and it was playing. And I was like, what is this? But of course I knew Aquafina, I think she does rap, or she used to rap before she was an actress. I can't remember exactly, but I think so. And so I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I was like, that makes sense. That they would give her a song. And also, like, Scuttle wasn't a seagull, he's a northern gannet. Because they wanted him to go underwater. Because in the middle of the movie, I'm like, why can Scuttle talk underwater? And watching the interviews, they changed the species from seagull to northern gannet, because a northern gannet can go underwater and dive for things. So I thought that was interesting too. I was like, oh, that's why she can talk underwater.
Wow, Kelly learns all sorts of things. I love it.
Yeah, I watched a lot of interviews.
So Joey is asking, I wonder if it was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
So
yeah, Alan Menken did the music, and Lin-Manuel Miranda did the lyrics to this one. And Alan says in the press conference, he says, the scuttlebutt, which is a surprise gift from Lin-Manuel Miranda, because I gave him this Caribbean tune, and Lin sort of did a rap over it that was so perfect. And he used the music, but it had this rhythmic pulse to it. It was just pure Lin-Manuel Miranda.
And it shows. If you've seen anything Lin-Manuel's done, whether it be Hamilton, In the Heights, that's what it is. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, and when I listened to it, I was like, oh my gosh, where is this going to go? What is this? And then when I saw the scene, I was laughing and just being, it was just like, oh my God, this is so funny, so
and
cute.
It's perfect Scuttle. Like, it's not even perfect like Aquafina. It's perfect Scuttle. Like, it fits that character so well.
Let's see, Julie. When the scuttlebutt started, I was afraid it was going to be cringy, but within a few lines, I completely changed my opinion. It was so fun, such a Lin-Manuel Miranda song, and this is a song I was telling my friends about. Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Absolutely.
what's the scuttlebutt? Yeah. I think that's going to be a new thing. I think it's going to be a new thing. I think it's going to be a new, like, phrase.
Oh, totally. Well, people are already hashtagging it all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, so we've already talked. Well, okay, so do you guys remember the second part of your world reprise with Ariel at her lowest point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That almost made me cry.
Yeah. She's like just lost all hope. And it's and she's singing it in her I Want song reprise, and it's like, oh.
And her voice is so emotional at that
Yeah.
point, and she just is like, ugh, I want it so bad, but it's not happening. And it made me very emotional when she was singing it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, out of all these new ones, I feel like the Scuttlebutt was the one that stood out to me after a first watch, but upon thinking about it, I feel like for the first time is probably my favorite, just because of how the breadth of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What
would
about
have
you
to
guys?
say out of the new ones, For the First Time is my favorite.
Okay, nice. What about you, Kelly?
Uncharted Waters.
Uncharted Waters, yes.
Yeah.
Eric's song. It's
Eric's
Eric's
song.
Okay.
I think that like his part just made it click and make sense for me. So that's just how that went.
Okay. Makes sense.
Also, when I was little, I loved Prince Eric. He was so cute. And like I fell in love with Prince Eric of the animated one. So I was really happy that we got a really good Prince Eric.
He is very dreamy.
Yeah,
Very
he is.
dreamy. And
He
like
also
now,
has like a British accent.
Oh yeah. Then it's done. We've lost her. Any kind of accent, like gone.
And like
so funny.
The bluest eyes.
Yep, it's good stuff. Dark hair, blue eyes, winning combo. Okay, so we've already talked about a little of the differences between the musical and this one. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, because actually in the musical, Triton has a song.
Oh, wow.
Triton has a song that he gets mad at Ariel and he sings that she can't go up there. And he sings like it's called The World Above. And it's a reprise to what Ariel sings in the beginning. She has actually 2 I Want songs. She has The World Above and Part of Your World in the show. And then he has a reprise on The World Above. And he says, you've brought all this stuff down here. You shouldn't be going up to the surface. And he's a lot more tougher on her in the musical than in the movie, the live action movie. And I feel like that was Triton was kind of lacking a little bit in character development and what they were doing different on that. And
in this one,
in the live action.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't like the way they treated the sisters. I thought because the sisters, we lost the Daughters of Triton song. And then they really didn't have much to do in the live action film except for to find Ariel when she was missing, even though they didn't really find her because she was on land.
I don't think they really cared.
No, they didn't even care in the like the way that they animated them. I feel like some of them were not finished.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so I feel like they didn't really care about the sisters, even though like they had a whole song in the animated and the Broadway song version. And they represent the 7 seas, and they focused on what they call the coral moon, but they didn't really they didn't really say what they do.
They also changed all of their names.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Their names are all the C's instead of all of the A names.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but that's why we probably didn't get the Daughters of Triton song.
Right.
Yeah, but I still like that song. But it also gives them more to do. There's a reason why they're all there, and they didn't explain what the coral moon significance is, and they just was there to celebrate the coral moon and didn't say why. So that kind of bothered me a little bit. And Ursula was amazing. We have not talked about Ursula yet.
No.
We need to get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well,
let's transition into this live action version, like what they did kind of differently, like what worked well and what did not work so well. So right now you're talking about the sisters.
Yeah.
But I want to mention something about that. Is what I thought was really cool was the fact that in the original, the sisters are just the sisters, or the daughters of Triton. I think they just are daughters and they sit around the castle and, whatever. I don't know what they do, but it's not clear. But in this version, it was pretty clear that they were kind of the queens of their part of the ocean, right? There's 7 seas in the globe of the earth. And each one was a different nationality that represented the ocean, like the Indian Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, like you could see the nationalities represented. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought that elevated them, even though they didn't get a song that maybe represented that. It was clear if you were paying attention that they were rulers of their various seas.
Yeah,
and so
I got
liked
that. I just wanted them to explain the coral moon.
Okay.
Yeah. I did
Okay.
like the fact that they were very diverse and represented everything, but I did see something that said, okay, but that just means that they all have different moms. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about it.
I just feel like maybe Triton's kind of the ruler. You have the women who are rulers of their seas, and maybe they're not even related to him. It's just like he's in charge of them, I guess.
You know what? His
guess
brother is Poseidon, and you know all about those Greek gods, so you know.
Yeah.
But I loved all the representation.
Wow. All right. Well, I did not think about that.
I didn't either. I just saw TikTok. I was like, oh, yeah, that might not be so good.
Well, let's go around and say maybe another thing that didn't work so well, and then we'll say something that we thought maybe they did better. I know. And anyone else here? Oh, Julie says blended families.
Exactly. There you go.
Oh, well, I didn't like that they took out Vanessa's song. I did not like that. Because I liked that. I liked Vanessa looking in the mirror and singing that song and turning into Ursula. I didn't like that. But what I didn't think worked was all of a sudden the animals were just pouncing on Vanessa, trying to wreck this wedding that was happening. And there wasn't a real clear reason why. Like in the animated film, it's because Chef Louis is trying to cook Sebastian, and he's like running around and gets into the cake and gets into the wedding. And then all of a sudden, they've hatched this plan to ruin the wedding, but also Chef Louis is part of that. And it just kind of came out of nowhere for me. I just, that was a little weird for me.
That is a main difference. We didn't get Louis' song, the chef.
We didn't get the chef at all, but I think if we're not going to cook crabs, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, Patty was disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
Chef Louis. Yeah.
Sometimes you need that levity. Chef Louis was definitely
I think the scuttlebutt was kind of in place of the Chef Louis song. I think that's what that did. I have one thing that I thought that didn't work so well, and that would be the song Under the Sea. So
it wasn't a standout.
You know
for
what?
Me,
I did not like Ariel chiming into Under the Sea.
I have one main reason. Well, actually, two big reasons that I didn't like Under the Sea. I thought one thing, the animation was cool. It was beautiful. You had her I love the swimming with the dolphins part. I thought that was pretty. Yeah. They used a trailer shot in that, against the sky, right? In the ocean, you could see her shadow swimming with the dolphins. That was cool. But when they're singing songs like the newt play the flute, the carp play the harp, the place play the bass, and they sounded sharp. We didn't see any carps. We didn't see any newts. We didn't see any flutes. We didn't see any harps.
And I was upset. I was kind of confused. I was like, wait, why are we not showing I wanted that's the one thing I wanted shot for shot. Give me that.
And I didn't understand. She's instead she's swimming and touching what are those? The poisonous
the
jellyfish.
The jellyfish. Yeah.
Touching the poisonous moon jellyfish. Remember when we
moon jellyfish. Yeah.
But you're supposed to touch only the tops, and she's touching fingers. Everything. And then she's touching the really big jellyfish, like flying up on its arms, which is the most dangerous part. So if a little kid sees this movie, they're going to think it's okay to touch jellyfish. And I don't think that's good.
No, especially the way she was like holding it and they were going up. Like, don't hold that stem. No.
No. Okay. Wesley's saying it's the Man of War.
Oh,
Jellyfish.
yeah.
The Man of War.
But I did like the blowfish blow.
Yeah, that was cute.
That was
That
cute.
worked.
That
But like, no heart.
Courtney knows that during the Little Mermaid ride, I always have the little crabbies, and they go like this, and I love them so much. I love them so much. I always do the little dance when I go by, and yeah, none of that happened.
Yeah. Wait, bring up Joey's comment.
Oh, let's see. Where is this? Oh,
That didn't really get into Triton. Triton and Ursula were always related, even in the animated film.
They were.
But he didn't. I don't think he got that they were related here. But Ursula kept
No, he
saying
didn't
it.
get into it.
He didn't get into it. He didn't like that.
Oh.
He didn't like it.
Got it.
That goes back to mythology.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ursula and Triton have always been brother and sister.
Yeah.
And Triton and Poseidon, and that's how Hercules and the Little Mermaid all coincide together.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Kelly, for you, was there something that didn't work very well for you?
You know, I just the hair. The hair is the only thing that bothered me throughout the whole thing. I wasn't really bothered by the sisters or anything like that.
The hair of which character?
Yeah.
Like
of Ariel, just like the digital hair. Like I just I just couldn't. I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to bring up one more thing.
Yes,
that stood out in the live action where it didn't really faze me in the animation. That is Ursula talking to herself.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
To herself. Or like she's like monologuing and it's like, well, who's she talking to? I mean, I guess there's an underwater camera. I know, but it's like
she could be talking
in the animated version, she has all those like worms, worm thingies that she's made people into,
right?
And
she's maybe taking
the souls, like she's basically taken their souls.
Yes.
Because in the animated version, Triton actually gets turned into one of those when he switches places with Ariel, and that's how she grabs the crown from him and puts it on and ends up growing big, and she's got the crown on top of her head,
right?
And so when she was just kind of talking to herself, I mean, obviously the eels, Flotsam and Jetsam, are there, which she never said their names, I don't think.
No.
And so that was kind of weird. And at times, Flotsam and Jetsam looked very puppet-ish. They were very... I don't know. They weren't like eel-like to me because like
they were at a certain point because I was like, oh, they definitely look like more eels. But yeah, she never called them Flotsam and Jetsam. She never called them my poopsies or my babies.
But also the little wormy things were also her poopsies and her babies. And I think that, but I also think that maybe that was a choice because I heard Melissa McCarthy talking about the mental stability of Ursula. And how she was playing it a little bit more.
She definitely was crazy. Yeah,
she definitely was a little more what?
Unstable. You know, like like maybe the talking to herself was a little bit of them.
Well, but she didn't call them the poopsies, which I love that.
Okay. Yeah, Wesley said she did call them her babies when they died.
Oh yes, but that was the only time.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
It was like one time. And then so I think that she was told to play a little bit on the mental stability of Ursula, and maybe that was why she was talking to herself. Okay. And she's always alone. So I mean that would make sense.
You can definitely see that when she's like constantly moving, and she was doing that in the animated film too. She's always slithering around and getting in. Like she definitely looked like an octopus or squid. Like remember when we saw that at the aquarium and the octopus was like in this like little corner and it got really, really small. I could see that's what they were trying to get at when she was like continuously moving all the way around and slithering. And I was like, okay. But at times, there was one time I was like, okay, you need to stop because I'm getting dizzy here. I can't follow where you're going.
Wait,
That's
Leslie,
funny.
you've never seen the Little Mermaid animated movie, or you've never seen the cartoon?
I think he means the animated film.
Oh,
Leslie,
wow.
go back
Wow.
and watch it.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Oh, and
Okay.
Wesley does chime in and say that he did like the Under the Sea song. He liked the differentiation between the two songs. When you sing somebody else's song, you need to make it your own. And there
You do.
was a moment in the little
Yeah.
Under the Sea where Ariel joins in and sings a little
Yeah, I
harmony.
didn't like that.
Yeah, Courtney hated that part.
Okay.
It wasn't the song. It wasn't.
Right,
It
it's
wasn't
good.
the song that really didn't make it memorable. It was more like the animals and what she was doing in the scene and
Right.
how they were moving about the scene.
Mhm.
It wasn't the song. I loved Daveed Diggs doing the song,
Okay.
but yeah, it was more like the staging, I guess, or like the
Yeah.
puppeteering. Yeah.
Staging. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
what-
Joey Pittman wants to weigh in here. He's solved Ursula who she's talking to. He says that she was talking to her tentacles, like Doc Ock.
makes sense. I like it.
Thanks, Joey.
That's amazing. I love it.
But the reason why I didn't like her chiming in on Under the Sea is because I felt like she came in too high and the harmony wasn't there with Daveed Diggs. And so it was kind of jarring to hear the two voices
Oh, okay.
together
Okay.
for me. So it
I
was
guess I
just like,
was expecting it because I had heard the soundtrack. So.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was, yeah, no. It was a no for me.
I liked the counter melody. But there was a part missing in that song where you didn't really see her kind of leave the
Right.
frame.
Yeah.
Where you do in the original animated film. You see her
Yeah,
leave
because
right
it's-
before the end.
Exactly,
of
because the whole premise of it is that they're like, let's get him to sing so that we can create a distraction so that I can leave and go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I love that take, says Julie. Cool. Oh, Doc Ock. Excellent. Okay, so here comes the big question. Do you think we needed this remake of The Little Mermaid? Now, in this day and age, it's what, 20, 30? Oh my God.
It's
I
30,
know.
30 years.
34
34
30
years.
34 years.
What?
Yeah, 34.
It's as old as Kelly.
It's as old as me. So yeah, 34 years.
34 years later, and I was 8. Okay. All right. There we go. So, do we need this remake 34 years later? I'll chime in and say yes. I think a new generation, in the kids party entertainment that I do, I feel like kids have been knowing the song less and less of Under the Sea, which is I play that a lot when I do Bubbles, and they don't seem to have as much of an attachment to it as they did when I was starting out. So I feel like it's good to get it out in the zeitgeist again. I feel like the representation is amazing. The fact that now they have an Ariel, a Black actress playing Ariel in the Disney parks that little girls can come meet. I think that's so cool. And all the merchandise, of course, is beautiful as well. And I've even seen an Etsy artist do one where they have like the original Ariel mirrored by Halle Bailey's Ariel, like in this beautiful artwork. I think you showed me, and I thought that was gorgeous.
Did you see the TikTok where it was like when animated Ariel gets to hang out with live action Ariel? And
Yes, I
No.
did
so
see that.
cute.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what did you guys think?
Well, I would say that in the beginning, I didn't think we needed it. But now that it's out and seeing the Little Mermaid out in the parks and how the kids are responding to it, yeah, I think we did need it. Yeah, I think it has its issues, but I think it's very well done. Like I said, I think it's in the top half of the remakes, and I think it'll exactly. And I'm glad they didn't change it completely from the animated version. I'm glad
Yeah.
that they still didn't go with the original Hans Christian Andersen, where she doesn't get the prince and she turns into Seafoam. And,
Oh God, no.
Yeah, that's because I've seen an animated version of that, and that's scary. But yeah, I think we did need it.
Yeah. Kelly?
Do I think we needed it? Maybe not. But do I think that I'm glad we have it? Yes, I'm glad we have it. After seeing it, I love what they did with Prince Eric. I love what they did with the storyline. Hallie did amazing. And seeing kids with not only the live action in the parks and um, rekindling their love for the Little Mermaid, but to see Hallie interact with kids
Mhm.
and how they are like, you're the mermaid. I want to be a mermaid. And like going back to when I wanted, how you were saying, Sarah, you wanted to be a mermaid. And
Mm.
I think that we really need those types of movies. Because yeah, sometimes kids aren't always going to want to watch the older versions of things.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
know that like my parents, I don't always want to watch the older versions of what they liked, but what are some remakes of what they liked are what I like. So, yes, we needed this movie
I know. I
because
was so heart wrenched with my cousins were like, I don't want to watch a Charlie Brown. I'm like, what?
yeah,
Oh.
but like sometimes you just need the revamp to
Yeah.
get a new generation interested in it. And
Mhm.
we don't want to lose these characters because these characters are
Timeless.
timeless. They're good messages. And we keep updating those messages. I love that the messages got updated for girls and for women of color and for diversity, and people of all backgrounds can see themselves in a Disney princess movie, and that is exactly what we need right now.
I mean, like even take Prince Eric, like he lost his dad. He has a
He
woman
was
of color.
adopted.
He was adopted, and he has
He
a
was
woman of
adopted.
color as the
Yeah.
queen and his
Yeah.
mom. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
anybody can see themselves in this.
And jumping off of that, I think they even added a message with this film, and that is the parents. So Eric in the original doesn't have a mom or dad; he's just kind of
No.
there.
He's just
But
Grimsby.
yeah, and so now he's got his mom, who's very prejudiced against the sea. Ariel has her dad, King Triton, who's very prejudiced
Yeah,
against
land.
land people, and
Did they make it known that the dad maybe was lost at sea? Is that why she didn't like the sea, or
I
he
I thought
shipwrecked or
he,
something?
I
I
want to
thought he
say
died of natural.
yes.
Was it okay?
I want
I
to
don't
say
know if they
yes.
made
I
it
think there's
known. I
one.
was just thinking that maybe that's why she had the prejudice.
I think there's one line in there that says yes, that's one of the boats
Okay.
that he
Oh,
got
okay.
down.
That does make more
But
sense. Yeah.
yeah, and the fact that they know there are mermaids out there and that they're afraid of them, and that by the end, I mean that final shot, you look, the camera pans to the shore and you see the ocean, that there are just people and mer people all together,
Yeah.
and it's like this whole message, because the parents, the adults, have learned how to open up their hearts and that loving, well, to get to get rid of their prejudice against the other, because their children have taught them this lesson. Like usually it's up to the adults to teach kids the lessons, but in this one the kids taught their parents a lesson of being open-minded, and I think that
Exactly.
was a really cool message that they shared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. So let's round out that discussion with Julie, who says that the fact that it is 34 years later, I think, yes, it was a good time to do a remake, and they did a great job creating a film, which I will watch over and over. It has enough of the original without being a scene-by-scene remake. It is my favorite live-action Disney remake to date. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my biggest gripes about Lion King, is that it was shot for shot. It was scene by scene, shot by shot, line by
Almost music for
line,
music, too.
everything. Yeah. And so I am really glad that this wasn't shot by shot, but like I said, Under the Sea should have been shot by shot. Just saying. But other than that, just because even Aladdin had some little instances where it was shot by shot, but like it fully was a different remake. And that's why I feel like that's that brings it up to the top of the remake list.
Mhm.
So
Cool.
I do.
Well, where does it rank on your live action list?
That's a good question. Everyone else. So Julie, it's her favorite.
Okay.
For me, I would say that it's right up there with Aladdin is my favorite. But Little Mermaid will be one that I will definitely put on Disney Plus, and I don't really do that for any of the others except for Aladdin. So those two right now are even, and I'm not sure which will win, but I think time will tell. Because I do love this soundtrack. I think this soundtrack flows more than Aladdin because I'm sorry, Will Smith.
Yeah, no.
It kind of ruins his songs. It's like not good.
I mean, he does an okay job.
He does an okay job.
He
It's not,
does his
Eric
version.
is better.
Yeah.
Jonah
He does
as
his
Eric.
version
Yeah.
of Genie.
Yeah.
We all know what would have been better, but his version of Genie.
So that's I think they're up there. Those two.
Yeah.
What about and Beauty and the Beast is like right after that. So top 3 are those. Okay.
Well, on mine it goes Aladdin. Aladdin is still first. Aladdin was my first love. Like that movie is just everything. Aladdin, and then I'm like right now I'm trying to think because Cruella is definitely one that I would think. Cinderella I really liked.
Yeah.
All the
There's
way back
also
then.
right. I know that they go back to I think
Cinderella was the first.
Maleficent. Maleficent
Yeah,
I think was the first.
No,
Cinderella
was
was
2000.
first.
No, actually, you might be right because
I think
Maleficent was 2014, and they say that Cinderella is 2015. So I think you're right with Maleficent being the first of the remakes, which I really liked the first Maleficent. The second one I hated. That one I would put at the bottom, along with Lion King. But the top 3 is kind of Aladdin, Little Mermaid, and Cruella, but I'm not sure where.
Right.
I think Cruella.
It hasn't been out long enough.
Yeah, I would have to watch Little Mermaid at least one more time to see if. But
Alice in Wonderland.
2010.
Oh, thank you, Julie. Wow.
Are we including Alice in Wonderland in the
I guess. I mean, it is.
Alice in Wonderland. I really like the first Alice in Wonderland a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my top 5 would probably be Aladdin, Cruella, Little Mermaid, Alice in Wonderland, and Cinderella.
Okay. All right, Kelly.
Okay. Well, I
Courtney takes over.
I know.
I like them all.
So Aladdin is still number 1 for me as well. Speechless just knocks me off my feet all the time. I love singing it when it comes on in the parks. And also I love what they did with Jasmine and Aladdin, and they had really good chemistry in Aladdin. I really love Aladdin. Then I have a tie because it's so bad because Beauty and the Beast, Bella's my princess. I loved Beauty and the Beast too. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. I thought it was gorgeous, and I thought Emma Watson did very well as Belle, and I loved the Beast song, the new song. Evermore makes me cry. Evermore, every time. So, Little Mermaid. I don't know if I can put Little Mermaid above Beauty and the Beast, but right now I think I am. I think it's going to be Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast.
Wow. Okay. Great. Joey brings up Glenn Close, 101 Dalmatians in the 90s is also another.
I mean,
you're just adding to Courtney's list.
I mean, but I mean, like when people talk about like the Disney remakes, that's not in there, you know?
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a difference between a remake and a live action. Like a remake live action or a live action. Because I don't know if I consider 101 Dalmatians a remake.
You know, I never saw it.
Oh no! Oh well, there's another.
It was definitely
movie
one we saw in theaters. I think we saw it in theaters.
We saw it in theaters,
I bet.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have more live action remakes coming. So
yes. Yes, they are. Wow. All right. Well,
Hercules, anyone.
Is there anything else before we wrap up this discussion? Is there anything else or any other performances you want to mention before we wrap up?
I do think Melissa McCarthy and Jonah,
Howard
what's his
King.
name? Howard King. Give a special shout out to them because we didn't talk about them a lot. I mean, I did mention Prince Eric a lot, but he was, I think his performance and like the scenes that they gave him, especially the scene of her overhearing him talking about his aspirations for the kingdom and what he wants to do and how he wants to rule. And that's really how she fell in love with him. I thought like that was the beginning of like, oh, well, this guy is more than just he's more than just a human who is disgusting and wrong and blah blah blah, you know, like
And out to get
whatever
us.
that
Yeah.
is instilled in her. He does actually care about people and he does actually want to change the world basically.
Yeah.
So I thought that his performance and was really good, and that's really why it's my favorite, is that the story is more fleshed out and their love story is more believable to me.
Yeah.
I
mean,
agree.
oh no,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, well, I totally agree with you. I think that's the thing that stood out to me most about this live action version. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, they have such a connection. Like, we get to see Ariel's collectibles in her secret cave, and Eric has his own secret treasure trove of collectibles that he's been all around the
Yeah.
world for. And I just thought that, like, they are kindred spirits. And I think it was beautifully played.
Yeah.
And Melissa McCarthy herself even mentioned in the press conference that she was talking to both Hallie and Jonah about Ariel and Eric. And she says, I just want to say you guys have given, instead of it being these caricatures, you've given Ariel and Eric humanity. You've tethered it to real people. And I think that's the big difference, is you guys brought your humanity to the screen. And after watching the live action version and their love story, their chemistry together, I was like, what did I ever see in the animated Ariel and
I
Eric?
know, right?
Like,
Yeah.
and I think my favorite moment is when they finally kiss. It's not on a big boat in the middle of a wedding. It's this private moment of just those two souls connecting on the shore, like the place where the sea and the land meet. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
And I really liked Melissa McCarthy's portrayal
Ursula.
of Ursula. I thought, just because I do love the Broadway show so much, and I love in the Broadway show, Ursula has more than one song. She has 3. She has I Want the Good Times Back, and then there's a reprise of the Good Times Back, and then she has Poor Unfortunate Souls. And with I Want the Good Times Back, it's more of a sarcastic, witty, playful song. And so I feel like Melissa McCarthy really embodied that part of Ursula, and I love that. She was sharp, she was witty, she was yeah,
she
it was
had the
good.
theatricality down.
Yeah.
Like,
I loved it.
if anybody could have done better on the theatrics, I don't know, but like she just was very playful and just, you know, bringing every nuance to the words she was saying, you know, acting every thing that she was actually portraying. And I love Melissa McCarthy. I love her pretty much in everything she does. She's so funny, so hilarious. I was so interested into seeing how she would interpret Ursula, and I really enjoyed it. So I think, yeah.
She really stood out at the press conference, just being so poised and smart. And like, sometimes actors do that at the press conferences. They just kind of take over, and whatever they say is like, oh my gosh, I didn't think about it that way. Yeah. So she was just a delight even then as well. So I love that.
Oh, I love that.
I want to bring up one more thing, and that's Javier Bardem as King Triton. So he mentioned
he was very
something.
Scary.
He was scary. Okay.
Scary.
But he was also really funny because at the press conference, he said, I'm glad Rob Marshall put me in armor rather than me being bare naked. That's the one thing I was really worried about.
I think people out there would beg to differ. They wish she was actually not in armor, but I get it.
Yeah, and it was cool armor. It was like that mother of
It was.
pearlized.
And you know what?
Coral.
The animated scene where King Triton comes in and destroys her collectibles is one of the scariest scenes that I think I remember seeing as a kid. So the way he scared me when he came in and just started like
Blowing up
breaking
the place.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew it was coming, obviously, because of the animated movie, but he was a very looming presence. Um, uh, uh, and the way he was being overprotective with her because she is the youngest and she's a little flighty, and they really can't always find her and they don't know where she is. And
Yeah. I was scared of the shark. They made the shark look real weird, really real. And I was scared of the shark. That was
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing that I loved was that they explained why she had to give her voice up was, and Melissa McCarthy says she does one line where you have to give up your mermaid gifts and your voice is a siren song.
Oh, wow.
So the siren song of a mermaid is a mermaid gift, and that is why she had to give up the voice, because
she didn't want to lure him and put him under a
it would be unfair. She says it's so unfair if you had your voice because of the siren song.
Yeah.
And that's in lore of mermaids.
That's in the Greek lore.
The Greek lore, where they lure the shipmen in with their voices to their death.
The shipwreck.
To the shipwrecks. And so I thought that again, it makes sense. Like, why she has to give up her voice, why she can't sign a contract. Like, I just felt like Rob Marshall and everybody on this film just filled in those plot holes that I never thought about until now. But the voice is a mermaid gift, so she had to give it up because she was giving up all her mermaid gifts for legs. So I thought that was good.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to, as we wrap up with our final thoughts, I invite the Sky Chat also to share their final overall thoughts of the film, because we're going to share immediately in our shout outs right after our final thoughts here. So, all right, type in your comments, everybody, type in. So, final thoughts. We've kind of been wrapping up, but still, I want to hear. So, Courtney, if you have final thoughts of this film.
My final thought is, it surprised me. I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. I still, like I said, I do have some gripes with it. There's some things I have an issue with, but they're small little things, and I wouldn't say it's a bad film because of those small little things. So,
well, if it's in your like top 5, definitely not a bad film.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad film at all. So,
okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And anything in our conversation, has that helped change anything?
Well, definitely hearing the way that Rob Marshall filled in certain blanks, like I never even thought of, like she can sign a piece of paper, but she can't write a note and say, "Hey, I'm the one who saved you." I mean, we would have saved a ton of time, I liked
the whole
like plucking like a scale off of her tail and then the blood, writing in the blood. That's awesome. I mean, that just gives it so much more. I mean, and that just gives it more depth.
Yeah. Kelly.
Final thought is I can't wait to see it again. I really want to. Like you, Sarah, you're like, I want to go see it again. I want to see it again. I think if you are on the fence of seeing it and you're worried about any loss of nostalgia or loss of what am I looking for? A loss of it's kind of like,
well, like, will this film muddy your
will
memories
this not live up muddy your memories or not live up to expectations? I think that your worries should be quelled. I think that if you go into it and watch it as a fan and open mind, I think you will come away with a lot more than you think you will. And I think it has reignited a love for me in the movie. Little Mermaid was not my favorite growing up. It wasn't it wasn't like I hated it or anything like that. It just wasn't in my top. But it's reignited something for me. And I think that it's a fun, cute little movie, and I want to watch it over and over and over again.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this over all the live action ones did the love story just really well, and the chemistry between them, and it really showcased that a love story is not just about lust or attraction. It's about making a connection with another person on a deeper level as friends. Like
Yeah.
they start a friendship before they ever have any kind of like
And the
romantic
people around them
connection.
kind of see it
Yeah,
before Eric
before
sees
they
it.
do.
Because
Yeah.
when he brings home Vanessa, they're all like, "What?
What?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Are
What
you
about
sure?
Ariel? Like,
Yeah.
what about her?"
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like the audience's reaction too, and they're kind of the voice of the audience there, of like, "What? Wait, that happened so fast," and then you
Wait.
realize that he's
Well,
under a spell, of course.
in the animated version, Grimsby was kind of that voice too, because he goes and Eric's underneath the spell of Vanessa, and Grimsby's like, "Where did you meet her? Like, why all of a sudden?" Like that was kind of in the animated version as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a little
I
bit
like.
more prominent.
Yeah, it's
but
more
yeah.
prominent because you got everybody in the live action doing it. You know.
Everybody's going, "What's the scuttlebutt? What's
Yeah,
wrong with you,
exactly.
Yeah.
Eric?"
But also she was devastated, but she was more than willing to give him what he wanted and
That's true
like
love.
let him marry her if that's what he wanted, even though she knew that they probably had just met. Like she's like, I don't know who it is, but okay, if that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And then like when she realizes it's Ursula, she does everything in her power to make sure that the spell is broken and obviously save him. But when she doesn't know that it's Ursula, she's willing to just let him go and be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think part of that was that she forgot that she needed to get the kiss. It was part of that spell.
But I mean, at that point, she loved him. She knew that she loved him. So, like, even though she forgot that she needed to get the kiss and break the spell, she was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to go back to Ursula and be under her rule now because Eric wants somebody else.
Okay. And that's true love.
Mhm.
All right. Well, it is time for shout outs. Okay. All right. So we have some awesome comments here from the live stream. Let's see. Do you guys want to bring up one? Which one do you want to read?
I'll read Julie's.
Julie's. Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
have
Go ahead.
always loved, Julie says, I have always loved The Little Mermaid, but this version has made it believable and real for an adult, not just the young teenage girl that first saw the animated version. It is my adult version with the magic that was always there. Yes.
That is beautifully stated, Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'll read Joey's here.
Okay.
Joey says, really good. Rob Marshall might be one of the most underrated directors, especially great with musicals.
I full-heartedly agree because I loved Into the Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Into the Woods was amazing.
Into the Woods knocked me out.
I mean, Into the Woods, okay. I won't actually say that because there is a version that I don't like. But Into the Woods, I like most versions.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll have to say that even Rob Marshall even mentioned, like, he and Alan Menken were talking in the press conference how musical is a very tricky thing because one step in the wrong direction and you've got SNL. And another step in the other direction, you have like it's not a musical anymore. So it's like you got to ride that line perfectly, and he does a really great job.
People underestimate how hard musicals are to produce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I think that you can really feel his heart in this movie and how much time and effort and care he put into this movie and the cast. And it really starts with the director to instill the cast to care and to put that effort and to make it good and to let them do what they do, but also steer the ship. And I think you can feel it coming off the screen from Rob Marshall, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I just realized that I set up all these pictures and I never used them while we were talking. But there he is.
My Prince Eric!
Prince Eric.
I've been looking at Prince Eric.
I can't believe it. Oh my
I like
God.
that one. That's good.
Here's King Triton, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here's another one for Kelly.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Oh my God. All right. I like set this whole. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, I'm gonna end it. Oops. Now everyone disappeared.
Oh no.
All right. Now everyone, I'm gonna end it here with Wesley's comment. I thought it was a good remake and loved the diversity in it.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Very good.
All right. Well, woo. That wraps up episode 421. That wraps up episode 421 of Skywalking Through Neverland. And I want to thank you both, Courtney and Kelly Turckel, for this Neverland Clubhouse takeover of Skywalking Through Neverland.
So fun.
Ladies. And we also want to thank all of you Skywalkers who comment and commenting tonight. You guys had some great comments and we love that. So thank you so much. And if you are interested in our books, well, autographed copies of Today in Star Wars History, parts 1 and 2, plus our Skywalking Through My Fandom interactive notebook are available now from skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book. Courtney, would you like to thank our sponsor?
I would. We would like to thank our sponsor, Small World Vacations, for their support. Thinking of getting a trip to Disney parks? You can get a quote from at smallworldvacations.com today. Their vacation planning service is free of charge. So check it out and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Awesome.
And Neverland Clubhouse, because we use them.
Absolutely. I think you use them more than us.
We have, yeah. We've planned multiple trips with Small World Vacations. They're wonderful.
All right. Well, would you like to support Skywalking Through Neverland? We've got some supporters right here, Courtney and Kelly.
Yeah.
Patreon.
Patreon, that's right. You guys can support us through the Skywalking Force, our Patreon, and you guys have access to bonus content in the form of participating in our Zoom discussions on the latest Disney Plus shows, such as The Mandalorian and Andor. And also you get coupon codes to use for our books. You guys did that too, right? It's like 50% off the Skywalking Through My Fandom. Yep. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That bonus content begins at only $5 a month. So head to skywalkingforce.com, have a look at the options, and thank you to those of you who are already part of the Skywalking Force, like Courtney and Kelly.
Yep.
Yay.
Join us.
All right.
You went with the Force.
I love it. All right, Kelly, what are we part of?
We are part of the Skywalking Network, Sky, where you can also find other great shows like Talking Apes,
the Max Effects Podcast,
the Neverland Clubhouse,
Totally Tell Me Everything,
Star Warsologies, and the YouTube shows
Collectopolis,
and today in Star Wars history.
Excellent. And you can find us on social media. We are at Skywalking Pod for Twitter and Instagram. And on YouTube, we are also Skywalking Through Neverland. And both of those have our daily Today in Star Wars History shorts. So you can get a minute of Star Wars in your day. It's super fun. And then, of course, always follow at Neverland Clubhouse Pod on Instagram as well. You guys are always sharing all the Disney news over there.
Yeah. Any
and
news
stuff
that
that you
pops
do.
up.
Yeah.
Because we're a monthly show, so we love to keep up with the latest news on Instagram.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't heard our show, please go over and listen to it.
Yeah. Search
It's just like
Neverland
this.
Clubhouse in any of your podcasters.
Yeah, I think our last one was about our trip on the Disney Wish.
Yes.
So, in
Super
January.
informative too. It was amazing. All right. Well, don't forget to stick around for bloopers and other fun bits that didn't make it into the show. And always remember,
Neverland on Alderaan.
I love it. I love it. All right, everybody. We are going to say goodnight. And ladies, if you could stay on in the studio while your audio downloads.
Okay,
That
sounds
works.
good.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. We're ending. Say goodbye, everybody. Let's see.
Bye.
Bye. What's the
Bye.
scuttlebutt? It'll happen tomorrow. Woo.
Scuttlebutt.